Hey everyone, in this video I'd like to do a demonstration on how we can have a web server running in an Allen Bradley PLC. In my case I'm using a compact Logix. We can use control Logix of course if we want to. So just to show you here, type in the address. I used port 10004, but we can use different ports if we'd like to, as it is configurable from the PLC. So let's load this up. Okay, so the first page I have here, the login page. So in here we can customize this title if we would like to, as well as we can set up the username and password from the PLC, and we will see that in a moment here. So let me put the password, and then we'll get the next page. So the idea here is essentially to present the user with few parameters or values in their browser to interact with and so forth. So without the need of installing anything from the user standpoint. So as you can see here, I'm presenting only 5 values with their respective descriptions and labels and units. However, we have the ability to publish up to 30 values if we'd like to, and it is configurable from the PLC, and we're going to see that here in a little bit. We notice that there is a write button in here. Right now it's grayed out, but if we set it up from the PLC to allow for the write, then this will be available to the user. Also, we have the refresh time that it's settable from the PLC. However, right now it's set to 99 seconds. If we don't want to wait the full 99 seconds, then we can simply put maybe 10 seconds or something, and that will speed up the reloading for the page, and then reload it per demand. So as we can see here, it's already reloading. So what I'd like to do next is I'd like to show you how we can expand this table from 5 rows to let's say 10. So we want to present more values, for example, and then give the user the ability to write and then demonstrate that. So let's jump to the PLC side. So as you can see, I'm online already with the PLC, and I have a couple rungs. So that's the code behind the scenes for the web server. So the first rung is just basically if something goes wrong or we're not using this AOI anymore, then we want to make sure we delete all the open sockets behind the scenes to make sure everything, all the traffic is clear and there is no bandwidth usage after that. So just to show you a little bit here inside the AOI from configuration standpoint. So as I mentioned earlier, we can set up the ports from here, the refresh time, numbers of rows. So I'm going to go ahead and put 10 in here, like we said, and I'm going to change this to 1 to give the ability to the user to write from the browser. So those are the parameters we can set from here. We also have the Ethernet path, as the name suggests. This is where you put the path of your Ethernet module. In my case, I have compact Logix, so I'm just using the built-in Ethernet in the processor. So this is how the path looks like. If you have control Logix or why not, then the path of course is going to look a little bit different. Also the tags, so we have here up to 30 tags, so it's an array of 30 to publish up to 30 values. And we have here just a little structure with the label, values, description, engineering units, so that you can map to publish your data in the browser. We also have these messages. So the role of these messages is to create a TCP socket so we can communicate back and forth with the client. In this case, I'm using Chrome browser. So and then the AOI is acting as the web server, receiving the command and then writing back the responses. We also have the connection in here parameter, which hold essentially all the parameters to open and accept connections and so forth. And then lastly here is just a few statuses to know the health of our connection, and then a couple commands for resetting if we need to. Alright, so now that we changed those parameters, let's jump back to our browser, and as we can see, it's already loaded with 10 values now. We can write back, and one more thing I would like to change is the refresh time, so it's still 99. So I'm going to go ahead and modify that, let's say to 60 seconds. There we go. Alright, so if I go back now to my browser, and I'm not going to wait the full 99 seconds, I'm going to put 10 in there to reload the new value, so we can see that the 60 seconds or the refresh time has changed to the 60 seconds. Okay, so we're just gonna reload the page again, and while that is reloading, what I would like to do for the writes to show you that with the PLC side as well is I'd like to show both of them at the same time so we can see the tags changing as we speak, or as we are writing from the browser. So I'm just going to change the first couple values. That's going to give you the idea. So right now I have this at 100, so I'm going to change it to 1, change this to 2, and then I'm going to hit write. So as I hit write, it starts to reload. And as you see here, the values changed from 1 to 2, from 100 to 200. We can also change these descriptions and labels. If I change these, then it's going to change in here as well, of course. So I'm just going to show you quickly here with the description. So I'm just going to change this. I'm just going to put 10. Okay, apply. So I just changed it here to 10. So now, if I reload the page, I'm just going to put 5 seconds this time, it's going to reload and it's going to change this from 1 to 10. So, there we go. I'm going to close now this. And as you see here, it changed to 10. And the same with the same same way or the same process, you can change the labels and the units as well if you'd like to. So what I'd like to do now is, as I mentioned in the beginning, we can change this title to something maybe meaningful to us, and also we can change the username and password. So I'm going to demonstrate that to you here in a little bit. So I'm gonna go back to the PLC. Now to do that, if you notice those parameters are not exposed in here, so I kind of did that a little bit deliberately, so they're not as accessible as the rest of the parameters, because they're a little bit more sensitive information. So to change those, what I'd like to do is first I'm going to go to my logic, and then I'm going to expose these parameters. So if we keep scrolling here, we're going to find our admin, or sorry, our username. There we go, and password. So they're right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this to just 5 ones, and then I'm gonna change this from user 1 to maybe something meaningful. I'll just put admin, for instance. And then the other thing I would like to modify is the, as we say, the title. So we're gonna find that one as well in our parameters in here, right there. So make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. So here's our title. So you know, I can call it my first PLC web server, for example. The only thing we have to you know, be careful about is you're limited to 28 characters right there. So as long as you're below that, you're fine. So now that we changed these, I'm going to go ahead and go back to our browser, and this is going to reload, and once it reloads you will see that this already changed. There we go, my first PLC web server, so that changed. And then the other thing we would like to show is the login page. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my login page. So once this is just fully loaded, there we go, and if we go back to the login page, as you can see in here, now I can put if I put user 1, and that is not going to work, so I'm going to put admin, and then 1 2 3 4 5 ones, log in, and there we go. So we're logged back in to our data page. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay sane, stay safe, and thank you very much for watching.